Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? The Greatness Coach Chris Johnson here, and I'm excited to launch this brand new podcast entitled Man Maker. Those of you who don't know, I've been doing some great work as it relates to Man Maker Academy. I got my Man Maker camps coming up. We got Man Maker clubs getting ready to hit the schools. And so I've been really pushing this idea of making manhood popular. And I've started this podcast because I wanted to have conversations with men that I believe embody this concept and are doing some of those great things. And for my first episode of the Man Maker podcast, I'm excited to have with me the coach, the mentor, the brother, Coach Omar Smith, Smyrna Bulldogs. Coach, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much, nothing much. Glad to be here.
Man, I'm so pumped that you agreed to come on to the podcast, and we go way back to the MTSU days, and so let's start there. Let's tell everybody who you are, what you're doing now, and how you got where you are right now.
Okay. My name is Omar Smith. I'm the head boys basketball coach at Smryna High School. Originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chat.
Made my way to Murfreesboro to go to MTSU, and been just pushing ever since.
Well, man, I know you have had a journey because you started in the middle school ranks and now you're in high school. So you've seen these young guys from that junior high age
Yep.
all the way into high school, and so I'm excited. You actually coached my son, and
Yep.
he's now at MTSU. Man, I've been really heavy talking to these young guys at every stage as well. Let's kind of start there. First of all, as a young boy coming up, what were some of the lessons that you took that still stick with you today?
So let me say this before I answer that.
Okay.
Part of my story. A lot of people, a lot of people know. A lot of people don't know. Um, my mother passed when I was 6.
Oh man.
Um, and so one of my favorite stories I tell people, I remember, I didn't know it at the time, but my dad told me, I guess maybe the week or so after the funeral, he went back to work, and one of his coworkers asked him, he said, "Well, what are you going to do with your son?" My dad
Wow.
said, "I'm going to raise him. He's my son, so I'm going to raise him. That's what I'm going to do." And so for 5 years, it was just me and my dad before he remarried.
Oh man.
Um, so, just having that father figure, I remember growing up, guys in the neighborhood. I grew up in the neighborhood. It's weird. We probably had about 25 guys in the neighborhood,
Wow.
all within, 2 to 3 years of each other. So, we would go outside and play whatever season was in. That's what sport we were playing. So, I had guys who played football, baseball, and I was the only one that had a basketball goal in the yard. So during basketball season, everybody would come to my house and we'd play basketball in the backyard. And I remember my dad, you know, coming outside and really just talking to the guys about different things and the way we talked, the way we carried ourselves. And I think that had a big impact, not only on me, but those guys. But I saw my dad, he wasn't only just a dad to me, he was a dad to other guys in the neighborhood. So,
Wow.
um, I thought that was very powerful. So I think he was doing more for me than he even realized by doing that. He gave me a model of how to be a mentor to other people's kids.
Man, that's powerful, man. You hear so much of single mothers. In this
Yeah.
case, your dad was the one who was widowed, and now he's
Mhm.
he's raising. Essentially, he's a single dad
Right.
and raising a son. And man, what were, like you said, he would come out, talk to you guys, and man, what were some of the lessons like you remember? Like I still hear my dad in my ear with certain lessons, like, and I could tell stories. What are some?
Yeah.
What are like the top two stories you have from your dad just coming out?
Uh. Well, I remember now. This was after he had gotten married. My stepmom, she's a teacher, kind of pushed me into education, and so she was big on household chores. So I had a list of chores that I'd have to do every week. Um, And I remember one week, I get up Saturday, I'm doing my chores, and one of my friends calls, like, "Hey, we're gonna go play basketball." So I rushed through my chores, and did a terrible job. And so, of course, she's fussing, you're not going anywhere. And I remember my dad sitting me down. He was like, son, if you're going to do something, do it right the first time. He said, because what
Ooh.
happens is when you don't, you actually end up spending more time on that chore.
Mm.
So that was one of the things I learned was if you do it right the first
The
time,
first time,
you
man.
actually spend less time doing it.
I like
So
it.
that was one of the biggest things for me, doing stuff right the first time. And I think another lesson he taught me, and this is one I don't think he realized he taught this to me, but just treating people the right way.
Yeah.
He's always been that guy that he would go visit all his aunts and uncles throughout the city and take people food, doing stuff for people. And so one of those lessons I learned was just treating people how you want to be treated. And so that was huge for me.
That was huge. Man, those are two big valuable lessons, man. And, some
Mhm.
people don't have the privilege of learning even in old age.
Right.
And so, man, I know you probably see it. I've seen it. I've coached as well. Of course, I've coached football, and I've been in and around sports for pretty much all of my life. But you probably see it more prevalently today. Young men who don't have what you had, don't have dad there, or even if dad is there, um, I don't really have a good model that I'm using. Um, how have you noticed this for on one thing, and then what is the difference between that middle school age, high school age? How has it progressed? How has it gotten worse? Is it getting better? What's your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
Um, I think one of the biggest differences I see in middle school kids are still easily molded.
Hmm.
So you can kind of put that fear in them pretty quickly. Whereas those high school guys, they've pretty much developed their own personalities, their ways, their thoughts. And so, kind of breaking bad habits at the high school level. It's a little bit harder than the middle school. That was one of the lessons I've learned this past year. Um, so if guys don't have that foundation, it's hard to kind of break them. And I'll use your son for example. I had CJ as a sixth grader,
Yeah.
and I could just tell that maturity level and tell he had been molded. And so I remember when he came to Riverdale, first thing I told him, I said, "Y'all gonna love this kid. You're gonna love him. You're not gonna have any issues with him. He's gonna do what you tell him to do because he's got a stable background and I know that his parents aren't gonna put up with any foolishness." Um, and so, having kids, and we have a lot of kids that are in two-parent homes and they don't have that foundation.
Wow.
So, that's huge. I think we're in a day and age where a lot of kids are looking at offers, whether it be football, basketball, whatever. They're looking at offers and they don't understand what all goes into that and how you're getting an offer. It's not just the talent, it's
Yeah.
the academic, the character, all those good things. And so that's one of my big things is teaching those guys that this process is much bigger than just you going scoring 20 points and somebody offering you a scholarship. It's not that easy.
So let's you see you opened it, coach. So you opened the can. So now we have to talk about it because it's important. It's vitally important because we're creating a climate and we're creating a culture that says, let's air out whatever we're gonna do on social media instead of
Right.
being what we are supposed to be. I mean, I've always taught my kids, and CJ went through this whole recruiting process, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it didn't turn out the way he had hoped. It didn't turn out the way
Mhm.
I had hoped. He was watching kids getting offers that he knew he was clearly better than.
Yeah.
But here's what I always told him: your path is your path. Like
Exactly.
you can't get caught up on what other people are doing. You've had to fight all your life. You've had to
Right.
prove yourself all your life. So this is no different.
Right.
And so if kids are not getting that, what is this climate doing to, I mean, what is the culture today? This Twitter culture, this AAU scholarship offer culture, what is it doing to the young man?
Um, it's a good question. It's funny. I literally had this conversation with my wife last night, and her dealing with employees, and I think what happens with this social media, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, everybody, it's that it's almost like a microwave mentality. Like I need it
Mm,
right now. I need it right now, and I think people are losing that value of what hard work really is, or
Come on.
fighting through adversity.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, in life, I mean, you play Division 1 football, nothing's given to you,
Nothing.
nothing at all. So, and I don't think our youth truly understand that. I even think some of our parents don't understand it. I think somewhere that understanding of that has been lost, and so that it's kind of scary to think about that, because I can see it with parents, and it trickles down. It trickles down from the parents. It's not just the kids. The parents are starting to think it. You know, there's a
Entitlement.
lot of other stuff we could probably get into, politics or whatever, but the general idea is I need this right now, and I don't think people really understand that value of hard work.
It's that sense of entitlement that this generation has, that
Absolutely.
you're supposed to just get it because you've always gotten it. But
Yeah.
the day of, I mean, it was a reality. It was like a big reality check for me when I got to MTSU and realized I'm I'm not the only good one. Like
Yeah.
like it's some dogs out here,
Right.
and you just gotta work. Now, the good news for me is I had come from a culture of work. The high
Hmm.
school I was at, nothing was given there. Everybody was competing. And so the idea of, and that's what all these kids are transferring now, because the mentality of these young men is when it gets tough, run.
Right.
And I know we're saying this about sports, but people who are listening and watching, it is so indicative of the mentality of these young men. Transfer, quit job. The average millennial is only going to keep a job 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Like it trickles over into everything. So, Coach, what do you teach? I'm dropping my son off at Smyrna High School to play basketball. Is it for you just about the sports, or is it for you after 4 years he's going to be a better young man? And if so, what does that look like?
So I actually had this conversation with a parent last year. Her son wasn't getting the playing time he thought he deserved, or I guess they thought he deserved. And so the first thing I did was, well, I pulled out the stat sheet, and I typically don't talk to parents about the stuff, but I say I'm engaged in this conversation. So I pulled out the stat sheet and I let them talk. I said, tell me what it is you want, what do you deserve. Of course, is I should be starting to get more playing time, this, that, and the other. And so I said, well, let me break this down to you. The position you play and the other people who play the same position as you. And when I compared the stats, it was a little bit eye opening for them. Um, and so at the end of the conversation, the mom asked me, what should I expect from you as far as my kids? I said, well, I said, your child's gonna leave here, hopefully ready for the real world. Now, if they get a college scholarship, that's great. Obviously we want that, but if your son can leave here ready to go to college, ready to go to a trade school, ready to do something that's going to prepare him for life after sports, then we've succeeded. You
Most
know,
definitely.
I had to tell her, I said, everybody's not going to play college sports. And I told her about, I was a decent high school basketball player, and I had one offer, and I think it was a sympathy offer because the coach was one of my teammates. And so, he really wasn't recruiting me. He was recruiting one of my teammates. And so, I ended up not going. But the point was, everybody's not going to that next level to play. You've got to be able to do something when you walk out of these doors of Smyrna High School. So,
Wow.
like I said, it don't have to be college. It can be trade school. It's got to be something though. And so that's my big focus. That everybody's gonna understand. I'm gonna have you ready for the real world.
And as a parent, I'm thinking that's what I want. I'm
Right.
thinking as a parent, like, football's not everything, basketball's not everything. I mean, like, eventually one day all of those things are going to end.
Right.
What is going to be your makeup, your build after that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But a lot of these parents don't see it that way. I mean,
Right.
as you're coaching in I always thought that lessons in football was lessons in life.
Yep.
So you're coaching the kid real hard. What are some of the things that makes Coach Omar like get loud? What are some of the things that sticks that makes you like I'm really going at him this practice?
Yeah. And I'm probably one of the calmer coaches in the area. Um, but I'm very big on just doing what you're told to do. Um, I was raised in the way, I'm gonna tell you what to do. I have your best interest at heart. So just listen to what I'm telling you, and it's going to work. And so when guys start to decide, well, I'm gonna do this way, I think this is gonna work, and I have to tell guys, I have been coaching, and they blows their mind. So I've been coaching longer than you all have been alive. So I promise you, what I'm telling you is going to work. So that's the use. If you want to see me lose it, uh, pay close attention, and you see guys starting to do things their own way and not listening. Uh, that will definitely get it. And I think another one for me is just disrespect.
Mm.
I don't do disrespect. I just don't believe in. I get it. The society is a little bit different. We want to know why, but sometimes I need you just to be quiet and just listen, and
Man.
then the results will come, and then you will get the answer that you're looking for.
Wow. Wow. I love it. I love it. Those are all valuable lessons. Those are all things these young men need. And so Coach, this has been an awesome conversation, and I enjoyed this time of getting on. I'm going to put you on the hot seat for a couple of minutes. I'm going to ask some
Okay.
rapid fire questions. You can answer them however you want to. LeBron or MJ?
You must have saw my Facebook post from the other day. So here's what I tell people. This is always my answer. I say if I'm on the playground and these two kids walk on the floor and I'm picking teams, just look, I'm picking LeBron just based off of his talent alone. But you know this, you play college football.
Yeah,
You can go so far with your talent.
most
And
definitely.
I think MJ's mentality is what sets him apart. The dude hated to lose, hated it. He'd make up reasons to go beat you. And so for that reason, as a coach, I'm picking MJ.
You picking
And I love
MJ?
LeBron. Don't get me wrong. I love LeBron. I can tell you some LeBron stories, but I'm picking MJ.
You picking MJ?
I'm picking
Hey,
MJ.
my argument is, how are we gonna have this conversation and just totally skip over Kobe?
That's another one.
Yeah.
We completely forget about him. Kobe was a monster.
Man, Kobe. Listen, I digress because we can sit here and talk about this. All right, here's another basketball question, Coach. The best duo of all time.
Ooh.
The 1-2, the Batman and Robin, the best duo of all time.
I'm a Jordan fan. People think I'm gonna say Jordan and Pippen, but I'm not. The best duo of all time might have been Shaq and Kobe.
I don't see how you can argue that. I don't see how you can argue that. Three-peat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be tough to beat. I have to agree on that. All right, I got a couple of more. We had an era where it was not about the duos. People start building super teams, so you start seeing trios.
Right.
The best trio of all time.
Ooh.
The big three.
That original big three in Boston was tough.
That was a tough one. That was a tough one now.
I like now that last Golden State trio with Steph, Clay, and KD.
And KD.
That was tough too. So, oh man.
You wouldn't add LeBron. You wouldn't add LeBron's trio with D Wade and Chris Bosh.
Maybe, yeah.
you wouldn't add Magic, Kareem, and Worthy.
Yeah, that whole team was tough.
That whole team was.
The whole team was tough.
That whole team was. That brings me to my last hot question. The best team of all time. The best team.
Well, it's got to be the 72-10 Bulls. Golden State, had they won that year, would have been them, but they didn't win the championship. They blew a 3-1 lead in the final, so I got to go with the 72-10 Bulls.
I don't see how I can argue that. I don't see how that I can argue that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Coach, man, I appreciate you sitting with me for a couple of minutes. I want to throw it out there because I have to.
Okay.
If you got some young men that need some extra, Man Maker Academy,
Absolutely.
you can send them my
Absolutely.
way. I also want to
I will.
remind everybody, if you're in Rutherford County in the Murfreesboro area, catch a basketball game when the season comes. The Smyrna Bulldogs. Coach is doing some great things out there. Coach, any last words you want to leave to the viewers?
Um, hey, this is what I'll tell everybody. We got something special in this community. This community, if you pay attention, it's a sleeping giant. It's Murfreesboro is a sleeping giant, Rutherford County. So if we can all come together, we get these Man Maker Academies, we can get everybody on board with these schools, these sports, these clubs, you know, classes, everything. I think Rutherford County can truly be a very special place. We got a lot of special people here. So, everybody lock in and join arms, and let's make this thing continue to grow.
Well, there you have it, everybody. This is our first episode of the Man Maker podcast. I've been sitting here with Coach Omar Smith. Until the next episode, I want you to help us join this initiative. Help us make manhood popular. God bless.